This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Do you play FanDuel and feel like you aren't creating consistent money-making lineups? Go over to the DFS Doctors on Twitter at the DFS Doctors and DM them with promo code Detroit Sports to get a free trial for their analytically formulated 70% lifetime profit rate NFL and NBA lineups. The whole purpose of playing daily fantasy sports is to get out there and compete and give yourself a chance to win. So go over to the DFS Doctors. Let them help you. They have analysts on staff that look at the best optimal lineup that you can put out there to win money. So why not take advantage? At the DFS Doctors, promo code Detroit Sports.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code Detroit to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
I was trying to get it how I live. I want them dead presidents. I want to pull up, head spin, get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get full-time artist. Ex-Guardy said grind hard and learn from everything.
Welcome to the weekend, everybody. I am the Doc, John Macaroon, joining me via telephone, Vito Churko, here for the ride talking about the NFL playoffs. Thanks, everybody, for downloading the latest edition of Two Bad Hombres. What's up, Vito?
I'm doing well. You know what? A little bit of bad gas and disposing of some stuff I had to do this morning, but everything else is going very well for me this morning. So glad to be talking with you.
Yeah, it's a good weekend. Obviously, I think everybody is going to be hanging out at home listening to this podcast because it's a snow day, myself included. I had, Vito, 8 clients today, and everybody kind of paid attention that the weather was going to be rough, potentially 4 to 7 inches of snow. So guess what I did? I canceled all 8, and I shifted them all over to Sunday, and I have a free day today, so I'm really excited. I'm going to shovel the snow, enjoy myself a little bit, do some writing for SI Lions Maven, and listen to some podcasts. So I get a rare Saturday off, and I think that for a lot of people, it's a commonplace because they get the weekends off. So give me credit. I'm going to enjoy a Saturday off, a rare one indeed.
Well, good for you. I know you don't get many Saturdays off, but you know what? You got the snow coming. It could be bad, like you said. Now, you know what? I think the forecasters, though, typically blow it out of proportion. And then we left as the consumers of their forecast are freaking out. And then typically, with that being said, the snowfall isn't nearly as significant as they say on their forecast. So you have to deal with that madness. People blowing it out of proportion and freaking out subsequently and acting like it's a death storm coming. Like death is inevitable and it's going to hit us all and lead to the end of our lives. And typically these snowstorms are not as bad as predicted by the forecasters. So I guess to sum it all up to all of you out there, relax. RELAX, as one quarterback for the Green Bay Packers once famously said. And I think he's playing this weekend as well in the NFC Title game.
I'm excited. Sunday's going to be a fun day. AFC, NFC title games. It's been fun because of the fact I was telling Adam and the fellas, when you cover a team that doesn't play good football and you finally get a chance to sit down and enjoy quality football, you definitely enjoy it and you appreciate it a lot more. Covering the Lions this year, you saw a lot of mistakes. You saw a lack of execution when we have an opportunity to watch the Titans, the Chiefs. You have an opportunity to enjoy what the 49ers and Packers are doing. It gives you a greater appreciation of what high-level football looks like. And the more you watch that, the more you realize that the Lions are further and further away from really being competitive, especially when you look at the division with Kirk Cousins, the Bears. I know people aren't thrilled with Mitch Trubisky, but he seems to light up Matt Patricia yearly. So you look at Aaron Rodgers, and you don't think that they're going to take a step back. So the more I watched the playoffs, the more disheartened I was in regards to the Lions, because they're in this they have this win now mandate. Ownership has said to them, hey, Patricia Quinn, get your stuff together, turn it around. Can they turn it around that fast to get to the postseason in one season? I don't see it. So I think in the coming months, when the draft hits and free agency, if they make big splashes, it's possible with the money that they have. But Vito, there's no other way to look at it. But when you observe good football, it doesn't appear that the Lions are headed in that direction.
But you know what? Be optimistic. It's exciting times right now in Motown. You have the Senior Bowl. Patricia and company, with his entire coaching staff, once it's filled out completely, which should be happening soon here in the next, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever. They have that Senior Bowl they're coaching. They're coaching the North team in the Senior Bowl next Saturday. I'm excited about that. That's what the Lions have to play for right now, is scouting all of that terrific talent in the Senior Bowl. But, all joking aside, that is pretty cool. It is interesting to get to evaluate the talent up close and personal. But when you look at, yes, the division parity and the lack thereof when it comes to the Lions and the rest of the division, I think it is true to say that. I think it's a valid statement made by you and others right now that are saying it and preaching it on top of the mountaintops, preaching it from the mountaintops and saying how the Lions right now, John, are so far away from becoming a competitive and relevant team that can truly be a playoff contender within their own division, as they contend for a division crown in the NFC North. And remember, they've never won an NFC North division title. When they made the playoffs in the 2010s, they made it 3 times, all 3 times as a wild card winner. So you have that to bring into the equation as well. The Lions, even when they were good in the 2010s, they never won a division title. And now you really think with the less talented roster, even with Matthew Stafford coming back and supposedly going to come back and be fully healthy, even with that being said, it's about the totality of the roster on the offensive and defensive side of the football. And when you look at that, what the Lions experienced and accomplished, and didn't accomplish in 2019, is a better way of putting it, they were a very mediocre team, as you know, John, yourself, from covering the team day in and day out. All those home games, all 8 that you covered at Ford Field this past season. You saw how crummy they even were with Stafford healthy. They started off 2-1, I know, but after that, before Stafford went down with his back injury, they were 3-4-1. So they weren't very good with him healthy anyways. And then they just fell off the map once he went down with that injury and lost 8 straight games. So 9 in totality they lost, as you know, John, to end the season. So going out not with a bang, but on that 9-game losing streak, it doesn't leave a lot of positivity from myself and many Lions fans and pundits alike when you look at the Lions' chances of competing, and specifically competing for a division crown in 2020.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And, Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia got to do a better job, obviously, looking at the defense. They got to, and I think the tough part is that there's going to be some subtractions. Graham Glasgow likely is going to be gone. Maybe Darius Slay is no longer going to be on the roster. How do you recover from that to try and advance the cause? So I just think that when you look at the teams that are remaining, they just play so well in the critical moments. They don't make those mistakes, and they got guys that are super talented. I know you saw the tweet that I posted, and several other people posted that, back in 2016, I believe, the Titans selected Derrick Henry. The Detroit Lions select A'Shawn Robinson, and then the next pick right after that is Michael Thomas from the Saints. And people are just like, oh my God, another second-round pick because by all accounts, A'Shawn Robinson's going to be gone, and you're going to highlight the 4 second-round selections in a piece upcoming here for SI, that Bob Quinn's selections in the second round have been brutal. And you realize you can't miss on guys in the first and second rounds. And while Bob Quinn has done well in later rounds, and he has drafted a couple contributors like Frank Ragnow and others in the draft, he hasn't done enough to infuse the Detroit Lions roster with a lot more talent. And I know that many people blame Matt Patricia, but at the same time, others as well are now pointing the finger squarely at, I think, the guy that should shoulder a lot of the blame as to why the Lions struggle. Bob Quinn just hasn't done enough to bring this roster all together and put talented individuals all around Matthew Stafford. It's just unbelievable. And, it stings to say, but because of the offensive line, Matthew Stafford's now crippled 2 seasons in a row with a back injury, and everyone's just like, oh, he's just going to come back healthy and be the guy. He's one hit away from potentially being out again. So it's a tough situation, and the Lions didn't win a game without Matthew Stafford. That just shows you how bad the roster is.
And once again, 3-4-1 with Stafford playing. So they weren't that great with them anyways. I mean, that screams a mediocrity to me with him. So you thinking they're going to jump from a 3-12-1 team to miraculously a playoff contender at least at 9-7. And let's say more than likely, actually, you have to be 10-6 or 11-5 to win your own division. And a very good and tough NFC North division that perhaps is not only the best in the NFC, but in the best of all of football. So for the Lions to make that extreme jump from mediocrity, and actually less well off than that, because you can say with the Lions this season, obviously as a whole, they were well below average. So to take that jump from well below average to a playoff contender, I just don't see it happening. And like you said, there's some guys that are free agents now. An unrestricted free agent in Graham Glasgow had a great 2019 campaign. He could be on his way out. Darius Slay, will he stay another season in Motown or force his way out of town through a trade? So he could be on his way out of town. Numerous other individuals as well could be. And a lot of this, you're right, John, falls upon the shoulders of not Matt Patricia, but Bob Quinn. Because Bob Quinn picked these players, built this team in the mold that he wanted to do so. And you cannot tell me that going into this past season, the Lions were acting as if they were rebuilding. They were looking to win. That's why they signed a veteran D lineman like Mike Daniels, who was a huge bust. I mean, the definition of a bust he was, playing a limited amount of games and snaps overall-wise throughout the course of this past 2019 campaign. So other guys you can name, that weren't good in 2019, such as Damon Snacks Harrison, who very well could retire this offseason now. And honestly, I give him credit for doing so if he ends up making that decision, as he wasn't that great in 2019. He definitely regressed. And he made the point to you and others in the locker room at the end of the season, John, that if he's not going to play at his highest level, a level that he used to be able to play at, it's not worth it more than likely for him to continue to play. So I could see him retiring. So you have these veteran dudes that underperformed in 2019 and or could be on the way out of town this offseason. And then you look at their chances of contending in that division or the other teams in the division, such as the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, 2 teams that will still be good. And what about the Bears? What if they upgrade at quarterback and they get a true proven passer? How about Tom Terrific? Tom Brady going there to Chi-Town, playing for that franchise, and what they could do maybe in Chicago, right? With a proven veteran QB, who I know Brady, and I wrote in my piece for SI Lions Maven, didn't have the best 2019, but he's still a 6-time Super Bowl champion. So if you get a guy like that over in Chicago, or another veteran type such as Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees to end his career in Chi-Town, to go for a Super Bowl title in his final season, well, you could very well see that happen in Chicago because of their defensive prowess. So there's another team that could be even tougher next season. So you have those teams to contend with for the Lions in the NFC North, and then all of their roster issues. And it screams to me, John, that this team is not going to be much better than it was in 2019.
Yeah, it's a fascinating look Before we get to, I want to talk to you about Odell Beckham and the antics that he displayed on Monday during the national title game. I'm fascinated to kind of get your sense because he had himself a good old time. His team won the national title, and he was giving a bunch of the team, a couple guys, some hundies there, some fake money per se. We'll talk about that. But before we get there, I want to get two more thoughts out of you in regards to the playoffs and the Detroit Lions. You're obviously checking out SI Lions Maven. You're seeing the mock drafts. You're kind of seeing where certain talented individuals are shaking out. Who do you like at number 3? Who do you think will provide the biggest impact? And then who do you like coming out of this weekend? Who do you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl?
Well, I would love to at number 3, but guess what? On the Lions. And with you and your knowledge that you've expressed throughout SI Lions Maven throughout the course of this season, we know with their history that they're not going to take Tua at number 3 overall. A guy that the medicals check out well with him, proving that he is healthy to perform going into the 2020 season. He's the guy you should take. No doubt about it, in my opinion. Unless by some odd way, Chase Young, that extremely talented DN from Ohio State, slips to number 3. Unless that happens, there's no way in my mind that you don't take Tua at number 3. And then if you don't make a selection, the other, I think, positive option for the Lions to consider at number 3 is to trade down for numerous draft picks. And that's just the way of accumulating a bunch of draft assets and young players then for the future. And the Lions, as much as they want to contend and win in 2020, they want to look for the long-term future as well and bettering themselves for that when they could be maybe just one day a Super Bowl contender. So that's what I feel with the Lions at number 3 and what they should do. And then this weekend, I see, John, the Packers and the Chiefs winning, which from my knowledge would be a rematch of Super Bowl number 1. So I might be wrong. I wasn't born back then. I'm a young man still. But I think that was a match way back in the day for the first ever Super Bowl. And that would be, I think, an extremely intriguing matchup, which would drive a ton of ratings for the NFL because you would have Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes going head to head. You know, a guy in Rodgers perceived to be the GOAT at one time, and maybe not anymore, but still he's a high caliber QB and has been for many years with one Super Bowl title already to his name. And then with the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, I think the best quarterback arguably in today's game, unless you consider Lamar Jackson to be that guy who we saw have that poor performance in the playoffs against the Titans. I think Mahomes could be the number 1 QB in all of the land right now, and that's why this is a very intriguing matchup just on the surface. And then you dig a little bit deeper, and you consider the fact that Andy Reid has never won the big one, has never hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. So if he can get it done, get that big monkey off his back, that would be extremely great for his legacy as an NFL head man. So I think just the intrigue surrounding that matchup would be huge and the best one for the NFL this year. And I think it will happen. I think we'll see a Packers-Chiefs matchup in this year's Super Bowl.
Packers, Chiefs, I disagree a little bit. I have to give love to Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator. Very aggressive for the 49ers. I think that it's a home game, and you did see the matchup that took place between the Niners and the Packers. It wasn't competitive in the regular season. I think more of the same. The Packers, yes, can potentially keep up with the 49ers, offensively, but defensively, do the Packers have enough? That's been the Achilles heel of that franchise for a minute. Now, the Packers give him credit, first-year coach LaFleur, another person that kind of has had success with a franchise quarterback relatively quickly, targeting back to Matt Patricia and the struggles that he's had in 2 years. LaFleur's got his team in the NFC title game, but I just see the matchup being a little bit too overwhelming for the Packers. The 49ers, they're rolling. I don't see any scenario in which, unless they make a bunch of mistakes where Garoppolo turns the ball over, gets a little bit, loose with the football, or they don't take the Packers seriously. The Packers, I don't think, just are good enough defensively to limit what the 49ers got going on. Now, I would be slightly surprised if the Titans make it. For me, it's going to be the 49ers and the Chiefs. I have mad respect for the likes of Mike Vrabel for doing what he did at this point in time with the Titans. They've done a fabulous job, and it's going to be tough for them, but defense travels. So if they can maybe handle their business early on the problem with the Chiefs is if they get down, you don't really fear that they're going to, just be out of the game because of how explosive and lethal that offense is. So I just think that it's going to be too much. The home teams, give me the 2 home teams. If the 2 road teams win, it's going to be a bad Super Bowl. It can't be the Packers and the Titans. That would be disappointing on a lot of levels.
Bad.
It would be very, very bad for the NFL, disappointing all the way around. So give me the Chiefs and the 49ers. And in regards to your draft selection, Tua's okay, I guess, but in a win-now mode, Vito, with the respect that they have for Matthew Stafford, it's just not going to be the case. So among those that might be realistically taken, Derek Brown, Jeff Okudah, and maybe an offensive lineman, anybody else, who do you think is the right guy at number 3? I think it's a combination of either Derek Brown, Okudah, maybe an offensive lineman, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be one of those 2, Brown or Okudah.
Nobody. Forget about the Lions then. Just, you know what? Forget about being an NFL franchise. You don't take Tua. Or it's got to be switched there. But, okay, realistically, John, I guess I got to answer this question here because, like you said, realistically, to keep using that adjective, I hate to do it, but to keep using it, the Lions, as we know with their history, with how much they love Matthew Stafford, and they wouldn't want to do any wrong to him. Well, because of that, they're not going to take Tua. Okay, I get that number 3, and I think subsequently they would take, I hope, Jeffrey Okudah. I think him at number 3, he's a dominant cornerback. They could always use an upgrade for their secondary and really every single position on defense. But I would much rather have a pass rusher and high-end pass rusher at number 3. I just don't know if that guy is there or they want to take him there. And that's why I think Okudah is more likely, just based on what I know about him and his game and the career that he had.
Now this week, you've seen the hype from Rachel Marie, myself, Logan. We saw what Isaiah Simmons did in the championship game. He kind of made a name for himself. Does his versatility make it so that maybe you would be okay if they take him? Or no, they got to stick with Okudah. They got to go with Derek Brown. I think it has to be one of those 2 for the fans and for who's best for the organization. They need a defensive lineman. So Okudah or Brown, or I'm going to be a little bit disgruntled.
Well, Isaiah Simmons, he's sexy, he's versatile, but do the Lions ever take what is sexy? No. They do what's safe. And I think what is safe is potentially Okudah. And if they're going to take somebody that's not sexy, that's not Simmons, it's not Tua, that's not Chase Young, then I would think if you're going to do it safe, you go to a route of Okudah.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that, John.
No doubt about it. Now let's switch gears and talk about an unbelievable season for LSU. Unbelievable. 15-0, quality performance. They got down versus Clemson, but that offense was epic, and they played lights out. Joe Burrow accounting for 65 total touchdowns, 60 passing touchdowns. Vito, to put it into perspective, you know I'm a big Spartan supporter, right? In his entire 4 years, Brian Lewerke had about 43, 44 touchdowns passing. In 4 years with Michigan State, okay? Joe Burrow had 60 in one season. That just goes to show you how important the quarterback play is in college football. A guy that comes in, grad transfer, handles his business, and what happens? He comes in and he takes over college football. Vito, imagine that at one time at Ohio State, there was Dwayne Haskins, there was Joe Burrow, and there was the current quarterback that was just there last year. They had a quarterback room that was that awesome. They could let go of a Joe Burrow. That's how crazy Ohio State's quarterback room was at the time. And Michigan State didn't pick one of them. You know what I mean? It's just disappointing at that level for both Michigan and Michigan State. But I do want to talk about Burrow, and I want to talk about Odell Beckham Jr., who after the game, kind of, you could tell, had himself a good old time, was partying, getting himself all liquored up, and he was slapping the teammates and kind of doing something that was unprecedented, something that we've never really seen before. He was handing out hundies, big-time hundies to some athletes. Now, these athletes, I think, that got those hundies probably were going to be professional, I believe. But it was just a bad look all the way around. Dude got drunk and had himself a party of a lifetime, but also got served a warrant for slapping a police officer on the ass. You can't do that. And people are criticizing Odell Beckham for being an attention hog, a guy that always needs to be the center of attention, somebody that can't let his university shine. He's got to be the focal point. Now, look, you can be there. You can have your credential, but do it in a way that's respectful. Party with the guys afterwards. Don't be all up in the camera. Don't be all getting attention. Yes, you're excited. Yes, we know that, but be excited in the stands like everybody else, or be on the sideline hugging them. Don't be giving out money, because you know how at the end of the day, eyes are on these programs, and you can't be giving out money, even though you want to say that these athletes deserve to be paid and you want to make your statement that way. Still, to this point in time, they can't get paid that way. So you're putting your program that you support and love in an awkward position. And Odell Beckham, I felt like, acted like a major ass. I can understand why he did it. He's having a good old time. He could do his thing, and he wants to be part of an epic season for LSU. But I just felt like he acted in a manner that wasn't becoming of a guy of his position.
God, I wish I was there, John. Looking at it now in the postgame, man, just a part of that crowd surrounding the same vicinity as Odell Beckham Jr. Because I could use some Benjamins, just like those LSU players were receiving, or whatever the dollar amount was that those guys were getting doled out by OBJ. Now, I wish I was there. I could use some of that money too from OBJ. So, hey, I know he's not listening, but if he were, for some odd reason, hook me up, OBJ. But here's the thing. I'm not a collegiate student athlete, so I don't have to worry about there being a violation made against my program because of you doing that and stupidly doing it realistically. That's how I would label it, John, his actions. And then he is, for a lack of a better term, an attention whore. It sounds harsh, but it's true. It's hugely applicable to OBJ based on what we know about him and his antics on and off the football field throughout his NFL career. And it looks bad for OBJ to do that. And I get LSU just won. You went there, you played there, you're proud of your alma mater and winning a national championship. And you wanted to be there to celebrate. You were proud of the players, excited for them, and wanted to take part in the post-game festivities. But guess what? What a guy like that doesn't realize, John, is the huge implications for the program and how you're affecting it negatively by giving up the money. Because it can be viewed, and since has been talked about, as an NCAA violation. A violation now that will be handed down for LSU. So subsequently, OBJ is hurting his program, the program that he loves, and first made a name for himself. So I get being excited and wanted to hook up the players and get them up and whatnot and just be a part of the post-game festivities. But if you were going to do that, OBJ, do it when no cameras are around. Do it away from the field and way away from the field where there are no cameras, meaning outside of the locker room as well, where you slap that cop in the butt. And that was stupid in itself, too. And I think I saw from somebody like Jamel Hill on Twitter, who's well-respected, a former ESPN employee. She tweeted out how he did that to the cop to distract the cop from the players and what they were doing. Because they were doing something that I guess wasn't clean, or what they should have been doing inside the locker room after the game. So, I get once again when, after the game, on the field, giving the money to players because you're trying to help them out, and maybe the slapping of the cop's butt was trying to help out those players, too, that were doing something they should not have been inside the locker room after the game. But still, man, be more readily aware of your surroundings and of who you are and the limelight you live in and spotlight you carry with you wherever you go. And that's where a player like OBJ, John, is not self-aware enough. And it could cost his college program, LSU, an NCAA violation. It's something he should have been readily aware of before, but he wasn't, and now it could very well lead to that.
Yeah, it's great. It's wild, Vito. Joe Burrow, epic season, one in which I don't think we're going to see ever again. 60 touchdowns, 65 overall, 60 passing, 5 rushing. Unbelievable performance by him. Came out of nowhere. I mean, in September, he wasn't even being talked about as a prospect. Now, 2020 NFL draft, he's going to be taken number 1, most likely by the Cincinnati Bengals. What an unbelievable ride. And I just felt like, man, if MSU or Michigan ever got a quarterback of that stature, maybe they can take the next step in their evolution. But good for LSU to pick this guy and to implement an offense that could really get that kind of performance out of him in 1 year. Unbelievable.
And then Joe Burrow is from Ohio. Like you said, Ohio State could have had him. Didn't end up, finishing his career. You're having a great career at Ohio State, but instead had that great career at LSU. So this guy should have been a Buckeye and winning them a national championship this past season, not the Bayou Bengals, which he did, and in epic form that will allow him to be the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming April's NFL draft, and rightfully so via his hometown or a team that plays in the state of where he's from in the Cincinnati Bengals, as you previously mentioned. But this is a guy that, like you mentioned yourself too, John, already, was a guy that was unheralded, very well unheralded going into this past college football season. And then it wins himself a Heisman Trophy. And perhaps, John, had the greatest season in college football history among QBs that have played the game. And maybe among all college football players in the history of the game. He had that great of a season with all the records that he set, winning a Heisman Trophy, having an undefeated season, and winning a national championship as well. So Burrow, great season, deserves to be viewed now as one of the best college football players of all time, and now will be the number 1 overall pick in this April's NFL draft.
Okay, Vito, I've heard some not so good news about you. Okay, you play softball, and some of the opposition have wondered about your performance. They didn't expect your batting average to be as high as it was. So we're going to need you to post a picture of you in your jersey and make sure and maybe take a video. I need everybody to see that you don't put shit in your jersey to know the signs of what's coming in softball. Okay, people are wondering that you're a big ass liar and a cheater, that you're hustling, that you're not doing exactly what you're saying you're doing. And I don't know what it is that you guys do, but there's been some allegations made against you that you're hustling out there in softball. So I'm going to need you to go get your jersey, take a video, and prove to everybody you're not a huge softball cheater. Okay, because it's rampant, and I know someone like you would look for an advantage. I know that you guys won a lot of games, but there's been some allegations recently that you're shady and trying to do some things in terms of softball.
You know what? You would be looking for the advantage, not me. I'm a clean man, okay? Don't be duping the nation out there, listeners, of this week's episode of Two Bad Hombres. Because you'd be the guy trying to get that upper hand in my charity softball game of all games. I mean, for charity. I was raising money for Make-A-Wish, Michigan, and you would still be the guy trying to get the upper hand on the competition, even in that kind of a game, designated for charity. But with me, nah. You know what? Even if I got those signs, stole the signs, and had a mic inside my jersey and wired up like Jose Altuve, my man Jose Altuve supposedly did, I still wouldn't be hitting the baseball or the softball. I mean, I'm not even a Pete Cosma. But guess what? Cosma, a guy of that caliber, of that ilk, still probably wouldn't hit the pitch that he did, Altuve did against Aroldis Chapman, okay, to win the ALCS. Did it for a home run. A guy like Cosma knowing the signs, okay, he gets a single maybe. But still, he's a star caliber talent, Jose Altuve. And now what I was really fired up about, I know I've already sounded like I have been, but what I really was fired up about the situation with Altuve is that people now are going to say he wouldn't be a good ball player without the stealing of the signs and this technology that supposedly assisted him in hitting that home run off of Aroldis Chapman. And it's because of his lack of size. They're going to say because of his short stature, well, he needed this technology to allow him to do that.
It's bad. It's
don't
bad.
use that against them. And that's the bad thing about that with Altuve, and what I'm really disappointed about with a lot of people that I see on Twitter. And I know that narrative is going to keep getting spewed too about my man, Jose Altuve.
Vito, it's bad. So like I said, send us a picture, proof. It's been out there now. I've accused you publicly of having a buzzer in your jersey and also taking greenies. So you might have to take a video and account for your actions, because it's rampant, and it's believed that a lot of people who are shorter in baseball have to cheat in order to succeed. And so you play softball, and I know that you're impressionable, so I'm going to need you to account for this allegation, okay? Publicly, you need to show us your jersey. You need to show us that you're clean, and let everybody know that you play softball legitimately, okay? Because it's not right for all these shorter athletes to give everybody else who's of shorter stature a bad name, okay? You, Jose Altuve,
you yourself. Who's speaking right out of me? This guy. You. How short are you?
Listen,
come on, man. You're saying a short athlete. How about you when you're not? You know what?
Listen,
don't let me confuse everybody out there. You're not an athlete.
I haven't been accused, and my methods of getting over are more in line with the OBJ, the $100 handshake to kind of throw me easy balls, kind of in that line, but I don't get caught. So I've publicly outed you now, so you have to answer for it. All right? This is what's happened now on Two Bad Hombres, so we got to figure out what's going on with you and your softball performance, because I don't believe the numbers that you put up are legitimate. Short people cheat.
I will take off here. I'll say right now to everybody out there, I will take off my jersey gladly and show off my chest.
Okay.
Show off the pecs. Check
Yep.
out the chest. 2020.
Yeah. You got
VJ Lucky, Vito
listen.
Geronimo Churco. Check out the chest.
Yeah.
It's 2020, baby.
Yeah, all you got to do is send a photo of your jersey, send a photo of your body, making sure that you're not taking anything to, or answer publicly in a video that you're clean and that you want everybody to know that you don't cheat and that you're not like all the other short people who cheat in baseball. And you gotta let us know. It's one of those things where we gotta know now because it's out there publicly, and we gotta figure it out. All right. Thanks everybody. Follow Vito.
No greens, baby. I'm clean. And, you can check out how clean I am, too, if you really would like to. I'll take off my jersey.
Okay.
And you can check out the chest.
All right, we'll see. We'll see in your response whenever it comes. For Vito Churco, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. This has been the latest edition of Two Bad Hombres. Stay safe, everybody. We'll find you guys soon. Saturdays, this program airs on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. Bye, Vito.
John and everybody else out there, I'm clean. John is not. I'll leave you with that. Adios.